Hello, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. I wanted to talk about energy today and the importance of energy and what I like in energy too. But before I get into that, I want to invite you to check out the link in the comments below to my book called You Are Made to Heal Spiritually, Emotionally, Mentally, and Physically. We are all made to heal because we have God and Christ in us. And it just shares my journey of being stuck for 30 plus years. I won't get into all the emotions and the things that I dealt with, but I have been going on 10 years. 10 years in a lot better of a headspace, mind space. And I have been improving week after week, month after month, and sometimes I backslide. And then I get back on to the tools and techniques that I have learned. And it has been such a blessing in my life. And so I wrote this book for all teens and adults alike, no matter where you find yourself in your mind, in your set of thinking, whether you are on a positive mindset or a negative mindset. This book was intended for everybody because there are outside of the box ideas that I never even thought of, that I didn't know would be useful in my healing journey, and they've been incredible. So check that out. And now I want to talk about energy, because energy is so important. I like an energy. So, I like for you to use your imagination, if you will, with me. But energy, we all know what batteries are, right? We all have phones. Most of us have smartphones, and we see this battery symbol with it will show the amount of battery life that's on our battery charge, right? So, I mean, it could be this much, it could be that much, or it could be all the way full, right? A full battery charge. When your phone is at 100%, it's 100%. And as you use it throughout the day, it diminishes and goes down. So think of that battery when you're thinking of energy. And where would you like your energy? Where is your energy on that battery? Is it a quarter of the way full? Is it halfway there? Or is it 3/4 of the way? Or is it 100%? Where do you fall on your battery life? Energy is huge. And a lot of Christians would get upset when they hear the words energy work of any kind. They would think, oh, that's voodoo, that's weird stuff. But I'm asking you, if you're a Christian, to be open to energy work and just take the work out of it, right? Just energy. We are all made up of energy. Everything is energy. The roads we walk on, the sidewalk or grass, is energy. The desks that we sit at, the chairs or the couches or the furniture, anything we sit on is energy. Anything and everything. If you can see it, not everything, you can't, not every, so there's energy that you can't even see too. But if you can see it, there's definitely energy to it, right? But there's also energy that we cannot see. And for instance, thoughts. Thoughts are energy. You may not be able to see someone's thoughts, but you can feel it. Not everybody has. Anyway, I'm going on deep end things. I'm going into deep stuff. And you probably won't know what I'm talking about unless you've studied it like I have for a long time. But let's just talk about physical energy. Where are you at on physical energy? It's so important to everybody wants full energy, right? We live in a society where you hear all the time, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I have to do this. And a lot of people forego their sleep to get things done, to meet a deadline or whatever. So our sleep is so important. That really attributes to whether we have a lot of energy or not. So energy is a spiritual thing, it's an emotional thing, and it's a mental thing, and it is physical. So again, think of this battery, this charge, and where you are at, and where would you like to be? I don't think anybody has ever complained about having too much energy. And if they are, I don't know why, because you certainly get a lot more done with a lot of energy. So I want to share a story of mine. My first experience of having my energy completely drained in just a few seconds time, in just a very, very short amount of time. And it was quite the defining moment on what energy was. I had no idea. Like it made energy go on a whole new level with me. So this experience is, I used to work as a cashier at a store, and I'm high energy, right? I have a lot of high energy. And so I worked the late shift, right? A 5 to midnight job so that my husband could stay home with the kids. And I was out working just to help for a short time. And I was checking. So I was a cashier and I was just checking people out. Like my job, in my mind, I'm like, you know what? People are coming in here and it's just after dinner time, and they are trying to get home to their families to feed them. They're coming here grocery shopping, getting what they need for dinner, and they are just coming here and wanting to get home and do dinner. And so my job is to help them go through this line really quick so they can get home to their families quicker. And so I took pride in being very quick at my job and being as efficient as I could. So that's what I did. And I was very full of energy. And I was full of energy from the start of my shift, from 5 to midnight. I just hung on to that high energy, right? So one particular night, I was checking people out and, getting them through the line. And all of a sudden, I didn't really pay attention, but my energy started to go down a little bit. And, but I'm getting stuff off the belt and wringing it and putting it in the bag and bagging it up. And my energy was just going down a little bit, and it didn't register until I turned. As I was, I was facing sideways and grabbing the stuff off the belt. And then when I turned and I faced the customer in front of me, it was like, the best way I can describe this energy, it was like imagine yourself at a power plant, and you've got to shut the power off to the whole plant. A plant is a huge facility, a huge complex facility, right? So think of this huge complex facility that you got to shut the power off to the whole thing, the main power off. Shut that main off, and when you shut the main off, it's like, vroom. It's like shut it down and vroom. It all goes out, right? Blackout or whatever, turn that power off. It's just off. Well, as soon as I turned and faced this customer, I had that feeling. It was just a vroom, like it just went away. And I looked up as it went away. And I might get a little emotional about it because I still can see this person in my mind as clear as day, as if it happened yesterday, because it was burned into my memory. But it was the saddest human being I have ever seen. It was a woman, and she was the saddest human being I'd ever seen in my life. Just, you looked at her and she didn't have a smile. She looked empty. She had black hair. She had all black clothing on. She even had black lipstick on. So everything was black, and she had short sleeves on. So all her clothes were black. She had a short sleeve shirt on, and she had cut marks all up and down her arm. Self-harm, I'm sure. Self-harm cutting, because that's a thing. And I just remember looking at her, and I can't even remember to this day what I was saying to her, because I always would try to strike up conversations like, hey, how are you doing? But it was like, I got this, I don't remember if words were crossed or not between she and I, but I just remember she just had this sad look on her face. And I don't know what her story was. I wished I had more empathy at that time and more, I wished I was more vulnerable, I guess you could say. I was stuck myself at that point in a lot of different ways. But she was, my energy, it was completely gone. I had such a high energy going into work that day, and it was halfway through the shift. Let's say it was around 8:30 at night, and my energy was completely gone, and I was zapped. It was all I could do to finish my shift. I went home and I told my husband about it, and he said, "Oh, you had an energy vampire suck your energy. Your energy was taken." And if he would have told me that, if he would have said something like that before I had that experience, I'd have been like, "Okay, you sound like that's a totally sci-fi thing, and that's not a thing. So whatever, like, I wouldn't have believed it." But because it did happen to me, I was like, huh. And I said, that it just makes no sense. I wouldn't have believed in that before tonight. But now that you said that, my energy was taken, and my energy level it wasn't at a zero, because come on, if you're a zero, you're not even in a coma, you're dead, right? You're dead. Your battery is dead, and you're dead. So nobody has a zero energy level. So my energy level was under 10%. Let's just say that. I truly felt like my energy level was under 10%, and it was very, very low. And it took about 4 or 5 days for my energy level to get back up to what it usually is. It took some time to build that energy, and that was just an incredible experience. I had no knowledge of what energy was before then. I didn't even think about energy. I didn't think of energy as a thing, right? And over the years, I have read, when I hit rock bottom and I knew I had to get in a different place, I knew that I was an angry person. I knew that I said hurtful things all the time to people around me, especially close loved ones. And I just knew I was hurt. I knew I had a lot of things that I had to overcome. And then I started learning about energy and what energy is and the importance of keeping our energy up. So I really want to talk about energy and where your energy level is. Now, I want to tell you, the energy that you carry in you alone is significant. If you knew the power that is within you and the energy that you carry within you, you would be blown away. I read this in a book, or taking a class or something. I've seen it in a couple different places, and I don't remember, but I'm not making this up. But every human being has enough energy. So one human being has, no matter your age, newborn or an elderly person in their hundreds, okay, that's past 100 years old, everybody has enough energy. One person alone has enough energy to light an entire city with all the city lights for 1 week, 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have enough energy to keep an entire city. Think of Atlanta, Georgia. Think of Dallas, Texas. Think of, I don't know. Those are the ones that come into mind, right? Like huge cities. I'm thinking of huge cities. Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's see, Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, think of these huge cities, and you have within you enough energy and power to light a city for 24 hours, 7 days. For 7 days, you have that much power. That is incredible. You have an amazing amount of power. So if you are not feeling fully charged, your battery fully charged and energized, there's things that we can do to get there. And that's part of my mission and purpose, is to help everybody raise their energy. So we need to raise our energy levels on a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical level. Let's start spiritual. Okay. You know, the greatest source of energy that we can get energy from is God and Christ. That is my number one and two. Okay. They're one purpose. So I'm just going to say number one source of energy comes from God and Christ for me. And that is the best source of energy. That is our source to go to get the energy to carry us through. So that's first and foremost, God and Christ. The second thing that I rely on for energy is sunshine. Oh my goodness, sunshine. If you feel like you are not having enough energy, go outside and soak up some sun. Morning sun, the late evening sun, not in the heat of the day, okay? I'm not telling you to go fry yourself or to go exhaust yourself, but go get some sunlight, some natural sunlight, and feel it just flowing on your face or your body. That is a great source of energy. I have noticed, it was about 15 years ago, I noticed that on cloudy days, on days where the sun is hidden, I feel more tired. If you know, I always knew when I was going to wake up to snow. I always knew there was going to be snow on the ground before I even opened my shutters in the morning, because I just felt so tired and didn't want to get out of bed. And I'd always open shutters and I'm like, oh, no wonder it snowed. That heavy pressure, the cloud, the density of the clouds, I felt it. I just am more tired and sluggish. So me, I rely on sunshine. Sun gives me energy. So that's a source. But energy-wise, spiritually, God and Christ, they can get you through anything. They can add to your energy. Prayer is the number one source of where we can find our energy and our power, right? And so that is a great way. Emotionally, energy, well, what are we feeling? What are we allowing ourselves to feel? Now, feeling emotions are so important. Even if they are negative, it's important to feel those emotions, but are we allowing those negative emotions to weigh us down? And are we allowing them to overtake the majority of our day? Pay attention to what our emotions are doing and how our energy levels are affected by it. So it's important to know that you have that control of your emotions and what they can do. So if you want a boost of energy, flip those negative emotions into positive ones. Instead of choosing to complain, choose to find something good to talk about. Choose something to be grateful for on something that you would normally complain about. Sort of like me, along many, many years, my husband would say, how did you sleep last night? Oh, I slept horribly. The kids kept me up all night. The baby was up and I didn't get any sleep. Oh my gosh, I only got like 3 hours of sleep. I'm going to just be a zombie today. Well, I changed that to, how was your sleep last night? And then I would say to him, you know, I only got 3 hours, but you know what? I am so grateful for the 3 hours I got. I mean, it could have been none, and I am so grateful I got what I got. So flipping your complaining to gratitude. Take your complaining to gratitude, and you will see your energy levels coming up. So emotion-wise, that's what we can do, is flip the negative for gratitude and positive. And then mentally, are we allowing ourselves to get stressed? A lot of the stuff that we choose to get stressed over in life, we have no control over. So why are we letting things overrun and rule our bodies, and it ruins our health? We are affected by it, right? So stress, get rid of the stress. Well, how can we get rid of stress? The number one thing I got to teach a client today, I'm like, do you know what to do to manage your stress? What do you do to manage your stress? And she was just like, I don't know. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you the number one thing that helps me to manage my stress, and that is to mindful breathe, taking deep cleansing breaths. Most of us are not getting the proper oxygen into our brain. And so when we're doing that, it affects us mentally, emotionally, and our energy. So just taking mindful breathing and just taking in deep breaths through the nose, you know, paying attention to your lungs filling with air, and then let it out. Several cleansing breaths. And we should be doing mindful breathing as much as we eat. If you're eating 3 meals a day, try to fit in 3 times that you are going to sit and take a few deep cleansing breaths, and you will be amazed at how that can calm your central nervous system down and relax you in stressful situations. So that's what we can do. Just allowing ourselves to be stressed over life isn't worth it. Most of us, if we're over the age of 30, our adrenal system is on overhaul, and we're stressed with that. So it's important to pay attention to that. Now, physical battery. Why is your battery low? Are you not getting enough sleep at night? That's number one culprit, right? Well, I don't know if it's number one. These are all just very important. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? And are you eating enough whole foods that are unprocessed, that haven't been touched and gone through the many hands of men, right? So many processed foods are on the shelves of the store, and these foods don't give us the energy. In fact, they do quite the opposite. Most of the foods that we eat, the standard American diet, most of the foods that are offered in the stores and at restaurants and at fast foods are just high in grease. They're high in cholesterol, and they're high in sugar, and they're high in chemicals, toxic chemicals that should not be entering our body. So it has an effect on us and how we think, how we feel, our actions. It even has an effect on our actions. So physically, if we can take in more whole foods, living whole foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and just eating really good foods to fuel our body. And if you choose to do that, you will notice a difference in your energy. And you know what? It might take a few weeks before you notice that difference, because there's this little phase called detox. There's this phase where your body kind of is shocked, kind of goes into the shock mode where like, oh, like I'm not used to all this. And so you might feel yourself feeling more sick or not as good or more tired, because your body's got to adjust, and it's got to get rid and slough off the toxins that have built up in your system. So again, that's something that you can be patient with and work around. But physically, it is so important to eat the whole foods and also exercise. Exercise, again, if you haven't exercised for a long time, it's going to take 3 to 6 weeks for you to build up the momentum, for you to actually do it every day before you feel a difference. Because at first, if you haven't exercised for a long time and you exercise those first few weeks, you are going to be tired. You're going to feel sore and tired and going, I don't know if this is worth it. But if you're willing to stick it out past the 3-week mark and keep going, you're going to go, oh my gosh, I actually have energy. I'm having more energy, and this feels great. So what are we going to do to boost our energy levels up? What are we going to do to raise that level on our battery power, our battery charge? It is so important. And the music we listen to, the books we read, the words we say, the thoughts we think, these are all affecting our energy source level, our energy level. So it's so important, if you want to keep your energy up, to think of ways to build positive energy. A lot of things, a lot of suggestions that I'll just rattle off a few. Listen to some uplifting music, dance, get moving your body, choose to enjoy life. Go find a toddler to play with and laugh and be silly. Connect with your inner child. Drawing, for some, that's an outlet. Or coloring. If you're not into drawing, color, or get a paint set and watercolor or paint or whatever it is you want to do. Go swing on a swing set. Read something uplifting. Writing is a powerful outlet. Drinking your favorite herbal tea, or watching an enjoyable movie, something that's going to make you laugh or just bring out the feel goods, right? And so these are the kinds of things that we do to help lift and raise our energy. And when we can lift and raise our energy, others will feel it too. And then we're able to share. When we create an excess of energy, we've got that energy to share, to give. Rather than being depleters of energy, let's be givers of energy. Let's give of our time. Let's give of our talents. And let's be excited to be alive. And some of the times where we don't have energy and we're lacking that energy, it's because of health issues. So what health issues do you have going on right now that you can take care of? That you can be like, you know what, I want to improve on that so that I'm not so sick and tired all the time. So these are things to address. And I know we truly are made to heal spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So please like and subscribe to my channel, share it with others. And until next time, God bless you and yours. You are doing so much better than you think you are. And I just want you to know I love you. God loves you. And you are doing great things. So until next time, bye.